This morning's Farm Report is sponsored by LS Tractor. Start blue, stay blue.
This year, make LS Tractor your all-season workhorse. From spring applications using LS tillers, box blades, rotary cutters, and grapples, to winter applications utilizing LS snow blowers, blades, and brooms. With this lineup, there's no job you can't do with LS tractors and implements. Learn more at lstractorusa.com or check out your local LS dealer.
Well, good morning, folks. I'm glad to be here. We appreciate once more LS Tractor Company sponsoring this segment. I want to spend some time once more talking about the State Fair, which will begin later this week. This is a long-going tradition in the state, and people look forward to it. And may I give you some of the current details. The North Carolina State Fair is quickly approaching, and it's a great time to start planning your trip and save some money. Advance tickets are already on sale. Wristbands for rides and ride tickets has begun, where you can order online, what have you. Advance sales will run through October 12th. And October 12th is actually the day that the fair begins. And the sales include $10 for adults, $5 for youth, ages 6 to 12. Unlimited ride wristbands are $30 each, and they can be purchased online. Wristbands are for one day only, and vouchers can be redeemed at the Ride Ticket Plaza once the fair begins. They are not valid for the State Fair Flyer or the State Fair Sky Gazer. Advance sale tickets are the best prices you will see all year long for the State Fair, said Kent Yeverton, State Fair Manager. Prices increase once the fair begins, so it's recommended that you buy your tickets now if you're bringing a big group. This year, the ticket credits will be placed on a chipped card, which will be presented at each ride and will automatically debit the ticket count for the ride. Ride ticket credits will carry over from year to year. Like many other big state fairs, we have decided to make the switch to ride ticket cards for our guests to use. That's what the manager, Kent Yeverton, said. This new system is easy to use and ensures that everyone spends less time in lines and more time enjoying their time at the fair. Other special themed ticket packages offered include the Dizzy Pass. This is one gate admission ticket and one unlimited ride wristband for $38. Kegs and Court Pass, one gate admission ticket, one North Carolina Public House beer and wine ticket for $17. State Fair Flyer Package, 2 gate admission tickets and 2 round-trip State Fair Flyer tickets for $34. State Fair Sky Gazer, 1 gate admission ticket and 1 State Fair Sky Gazer ticket for $14. For more information on this, visit the State Fair website at www.ncstatefair.org. The 2023 North Carolina State Fair will run from October 12th, which is this Thursday, through the 22nd, which will be the following Sunday week at the North Carolina State Fairgrounds in Raleigh. The fair offers an experience unique to North Carolina and is an unparalleled value with free entertainment, thrilling rides and games, thousands of animals, endless family activities, competitions, vendors, and creative deep-fried delights. So all of this is right here, just a couple of 3 days away, and we look forward to that. The big day will be Friday the 13th, down below the village of Yesteryear in what's called Heritage Circle. There's a vintage tobacco barn. It's permanent, it's there all year. and it was brought in from a farm up in the Piedmont. It was refurbished, and it's on display. Green tobacco will be received that day, and it will be looped or prepared, and sticks will be hung in the barn, and the tobacco will be cured with wood as it used to be from years ago. And volunteers will be on hand to talk to the public and to explain the curing process and share some old stories from years gone by of growing up on the farm. Regarding the fair, some other activities at the fair, there's much concern now that North Carolina State Fair's Restaurant Row will be demolished after this year. And this has caused quite a bit of concern and disappointment. And here are the details. North Carolina State Fair's Restaurant Row tenants disheartened to learn decades-old building will be demolished. Crews are setting up the midway rides and Ferris wheel just days away from the start of the North Carolina State Fair in Raleigh. This will be the last year for one of the longest running traditions at the fair. Everyone knows it better as Restaurant Row. Churches, nonprofits, and families have run these restaurants for decades. The Apex lines have been here since 1943. Like their sign says, this is a farewell year. We make homemade sweet potato biscuits here, said Horace Johnson. That's one of our trademarks. Those trademark biscuits are as much a tradition on the menu in the Apex Lions Club restaurant at the State Fair as the Pie Guy. Johnson's trademark call to customers is music to the ears of fairgoers. Apple pies, lemon pies, coconut pies, chocolate pies, all this is available there. His call has lured customers in since he started volunteering in the nonprofit concession 40 years ago. The Lions came here in 1943, so this is our 80th year, Johnson said. That milestone year will be its last. The State Fair notified tenants in Restaurant Row that their building with its rusted roof and peeling paint will be demolished after this year. I know it needs to be replaced, Johnson said. We had hoped they'd replace it with new modern facilities and put us back in here. But that's not the case. The State Fair plans to replace Restaurant Row with a modern Midway Event Center. Fair Director Kent Yeverden said that the new facility will bring new traditions. We see this as a good time to add to our programming, to maybe serve some additional customers and do some things to help support the other events in that area year-round and during the fair, Yeverden said. But the plans do not include space for the groups displaced from Restaurant Row. We're just not able to guarantee, State Fair Manager Kent Yeverden said. Johnson is preparing the Lions Club kitchen for a busy year, serving up the last slice of a fair tradition. We have people who've been coming here for generations, Johnson said. That's why this is sort of a sad year for us, because we're losing a lot of our friends. The State Fair notified the restaurants about this in a letter, which also said they'll be billed for the cost to remove anything left inside the building after the end of November. The groups are told they can submit an application to try to get a spot in the 2024 fair. So this is a bittersweet, sad, nostalgic concern concerning the demolishing of Restaurant Row. And as the article just alluded to, some of these businesses have been there and coming back every year for 80 years, and that is somewhat. But we'll see how it unfolds. Also, coinciding with this coming weekend will be the opening of the deer season, hunting season. And a lot of people are looking forward to going deer hunting, and they have their tree stands already available. They've put corn out to entice the deer into a shooting area, and there's a lot of anticipation and excitement. Along with this, people who are long-time deer hunters have stories to tell about what works best in their deer hunting activities. So I'd like to share with you an article that has to do with legends of the fall. The fall meaning the time of year which coincides with the deer hunting. Deer hunting truths are often based more on fiction than fact. Deer hunting, perhaps more than any other outdoor pursuit, has its share of myths and misinformation. The legion of hunters turned armchair biologists have passed down hunting lore through generations until it becomes fact, and there is little one can do to change some of the people's minds. To that end, North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission deer biologist Mariah Bogus, an avid deer hunter, addressed some common fallacies from a scientific point of view. While some deer hunters may continue to hold on to their old beliefs, we hope this fact versus fiction exercise can lead to better days ahead. So keep an open mind as we shed a little light on 10 common deer hunting myths. Myth number 1, you can tell the size of the buck from the size of the rub on the tree. As hunters, rub fire is up. There's just something about the bright bark scar and bark sheddings on the ground that create renewed optimism in the hunt. When we see big rubs on big trees, we get really excited because we equate this large signpost with large antlers. But do big ruts equal big antlers? According to the wildlife people, no, not always. Small bucks can and do sometimes rub large trees. If a yearling cowhorn buck is committed enough, he can create a large rub on a large tree. Small rubs also don't necessarily equate small bucks and can be made by the biggest bucks around in some cases. Additionally, some rubs are created by multiple bucks rubbing the same tree. This collective effort can make these rubs quite large and uninformative about any one animal. Buck rub trees to create a signpost and deposit scent in the rub using their forward gland. This indirect communication method is important to whitetails regardless of the tree size. Rub height is another clue often used as a diagnosis of buck size. The logic here is simple. Big bucks can reach further up a tree than small bucks can, so tall rubs are from bigger bucks. While there is likely some truth to this, remember that the big bucks can make short rubs just as well as small bucks can. Only the most extremely tall rubs may serve as a clue of a large buck, and even then the range of difference between tall and short deer is not great. So that's something to think about. Myth number 2, no upper teeth in the front is a sign of an old deer. You've just killed a deer and excitedly walk up to recover it. Soon you notice it has no teeth on the top of its mouth and jump to a seemingly natural conclusion. This must be a super old deer. This is a common point of confusion for hunters who have never looked carefully at a deer's mouth. If they had, they would already know that deer do not normally have incisors on the top of their mouth. Like cattle, deer rip leaves and stems off plants by pinching them against the roof of their mouth with their bottom incisors. Food is often passed with their tongue to the premolars and molars in the back of the mouth. This is where it is ground into smaller pieces, leading to tooth wear on the molars that can be used for estimating age. There are a few inches of space between the bottom incisors and the premolars in the back. This gap is called a dystema and can make it appear like the deer has very few teeth. While deer do not normally have top front teeth, they occasionally show up with canine teeth. These canines are often rare and are remains of larger canines that white-tailed deer had long ago. So that's just that's a lot to say that just because upper teeth are missing does not necessarily indicate an old deer. Old deer have a gray muzzle. We are all too familiar with the signs of aging in humans. Translating these same signs, like wrinkles and gray hair, to deer does not usually work. A deer's coat color is absolutely not an indication of its age. In fact, deer coats range widely in color from dark to very light gray to much more infrequently white or black. Just because the buck you harvested has a super gray muzzle does not mean it is old. The best way to estimate your deer's age is by having an experienced biologist examine tooth wear or by submitting the first incisor to an aging lab. Now, there are other myths that we hear regularly. They include antler deformities or a sign of bad genetics. That's not necessarily the case. Also, there's a ongoing idea that you need to take out old barren does, that the older the doe, that they will not reproduce, and they need to be taken out, and that is killed, and so as not to compete with the rest of the herd. You can look at a track and tell if it is a buck or doe that made it. That's not necessarily the case either. And another couple of three ideas. Buck, the idea that as a buck gets older, his horns decrease, and the mass and the magnitude of a rack diminishes. That is not necessarily the case either. Deer go nocturnal during the full moon. That coincides with the rut, and a lot of very skilled deer hunters say that when the full moon of November comes, that's the best time to hunt deer. And I think indeed it is, but the full moon, they don't necessarily go nocturnal totally as it is. I see my time has run out. I'm glad to be with you today, and I'll have some more stories and reports for next week. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for having me with you. Have a good day, and God bless.